my name is Bekah Rottenberg, owner and head coach of Brave Endeavors Mountain Bike Skills and Strength Training, and I'm making this video in collaboration with Mountain View Cycles, which is personally my favorite bike shop located in downtown Hood River. We are here today at the Mitchell Ridge Route Waterfall, and we're going to make a little how to ride Mitchell Ridge. And my whole goal with these videos is to help you ride these trails with more confidence and ultimately more fun. I want you to feel like you have a plan to try to tackle some of these features that maybe previously you walked, rode around, or maybe you rode them, but you were like, I have no idea how I got down that, and you felt like it was just luck. I want you to feel like you're in control. I want you to feel like you are the pilot, not the passenger. So I'm going to give you 2 different line choices for this section, this route waterfall, 3 specific tips for each. Then we're going to head on down to the BERMS and do the same thing down there. One mindset piece I'd like to mention is whenever you're trying to improve, I really want you to adopt a growth mindset. So the idea with the growth mindset is in order to get better, you're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. Don't come out here after watching 1 video or even after watching 10 videos and think, I'm going to nail it the first time. That's not realistic, right? Take your time, be patient with yourself, expect to mess up, expect to make some mistakes, and just slowly chip away at improving. Take your progression with a growth mindset, have fun, and I hope to see you out on the trails. So you have decided you are ready to try the Mitchell Route Waterfall. The 3 things I want you thinking about for both line options are line choice, body positioning, and speed. All right, so the first line I'm going to go over is the salamander line. So this one, you're going to come in nice and wide and make this big C shape. And what I want you to do is, as Johnny Cash said, walk the line. And I like to do this with a stick. So we're going over line choice here. So grab a stick, and word of caution, make sure you have a buddy. Definitely keep your ears open, anatomy, because people come ripping through here, and the last thing you want to do is get in their way. So grab a stick. It simulates your handlebars, so you want relaxed shoulders, elbows up and out, 1 finger on the brakes, and then I literally want you to put your feet where your tires are going to go. So we're walking the salamander line. We are staying nice and wide, and start to imagine what you're going to be doing with your body and the bike. So now as it starts to get steep, and this is where we're going to talk about body position, as it starts to get steep, you're going from this high ready position to just bending the knees and getting a bit lower. Okay, you're still staying nice and balanced on your feet, right? Hands are relaxed, weight is in your feet. And then as you go over these routes, you're just going to start to be a little dynamic, right? You want to press down a little bit. You want to activate that natural suspension, but you can just roll right over these routes. You do not need to do anything crazy with your body, right? You do not need to get super far back. You don't even need to be doing like a big old press. You really, if you've got a modern day mountain bike, you can just stay in that low ready position and just move that body a little bit. Right here, you're going to be pressing down a little bit and then keeping your eyes up and out. So we went over line choice, we went over body position. Now, the third thing is speed. And the speed here is really important. I see a lot of people come in and they slam on their brakes, and when they do that, their whole body starts to shift forward and you get off balance. So I want you to come in with a nice consistent speed. So I like to think of the brake levers like a dimmer switch. I want you to set that mood light in. Okay, so you're going to be on the brakes a little bit all the way through, and then after you go down that last route, then you can be off the brakes and let out a big old whee, or like woo, because you're gonna be so psyched that you just rode the salamander line on the Mitchell routes. You've done the salamander line, you feel great about it, you're ready to step up your game for the PLATYHELMINTHES line. Okay, this could also be called the straight line, but I'm a former science teacher and a little bit of a nerd, and let's be honest, PLATYHELMINTHES, they're super cool. So For this line, the three things I'm going to go over again: line choice, body position, and speed. So your line choice, you want to come in tight, hugging this bank, okay? When you approach up there, there's a little rut that you're going to get into, and then you're going to come straight through here, and the whole idea is to try to straighten this thing out as much as you can, okay? So that's your line choice, straight. If you look at the bottom, you'll see this berm or bank up on the left. I want you to skip that sucker, okay? And just try to go straight, kind of hugging the gully that's on rider's right. Body position is, your setup is really similar to the salamander line, except what you're doing with your body once you get into really the heart or the gnar of this line is a little different, where I want you to use a drop technique. Okay, you can roll this, but I really want you to drop it. And so I want you to do a little bit of a weight shift. You're going to drive down with your feet a little bit, and you're just going to stick that bike out in front of you just to unweight the front wheel so that both wheels land on the ground at the same time. Okay, so that's what you're doing with your body. And then your speed. Guys, your speed is fast, right? If you're doing the PLATYHELMINTHES line, you're trying to go for it. Now, that doesn't mean you're totally off the brakes, right? But when you're doing this drop on this route, yeah, you should be off the brakes. When you land, you should definitely be off the brakes. And then you're gonna hit the brakes again to control your speed before you make that turn. The other thing that's really important to think about with both of these lines is your eyes, right? Where you look is where you go. So you need to have your eyes looking up, down the trail, not right in front of your tire. You just rode the Mitchell routes, either the salamander line or the PLATYHELMINTHES line, or maybe both, and you're getting ready for the infamous Mitchell BERMS. Now, we were going to shoot this a little bit lower, like at the actual start of the berms, and literally as we were riding along, I was like, oh my God, these berms right here are your perfect practice berms for down low. So the three things that I want you thinking about, guess what they are? Line choice, body position, and speed. We're going to go through them right now, and then what I want you to do the next time you ride this trail is practice those three things here, and then you're going to be ready to rock and roll when it really gets steep and you really need those three techniques to be dialed in. So, line choice. It's a berm, right, which is a banked supported turn, so you want to come in high and wide, right? So that means finding the outside of the trail. Line choice is high and wide. Body position. You want to stay centered and low. Okay, centered could also mean balanced, and the way I like to define balance on the bike is your weight is fully supported by your feet. Your hands are nice and light, so people will say light hands, heavy feet. Or the other thing I like to think about is if the bike were to disappear out from under you, you'd land on your feet. Okay, so you want to be balanced and low, which means bend the knees, bend the elbows. Okay, sometimes I notice in berms, people get really far back. That unweights the front wheel and makes things really wonky. You don't want to do that. You also definitely don't want to be like death gripping or pressing into the bars too hard. Okay, balance on the bike, light hands, heavy feet. Then the third thing is your speed. And this is huge. This is something that I'm still working on myself. But you want to come in slow, exit fast, right? Cornering berms, it's all about what we call exit speed. So you want to brake, 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 brake. Ideally brake when it's straight in the trail. But if you need to be braking all the way until the apex, and then you want to be off the brakes by the apex, okay? And then that's when things get really fun and you get this like roller coaster effect of berms. What's the apex? The apex is the point where the turn changes direction the most, or you could also define it as the sharpest point of the turn. Basically, it's the point where the bike really needs to be leaning over, right? And so when that's happening, you definitely want to be off the brakes. So that's like the general principle of braking is slow, slow, slow to the apex, off the brakes by the apex. We can get a little bit more nuanced where you could use the phrase 2-1 none. So 2 brakes when it's straight, 1 brake as you're entering the turn, and then once you're at the apex, none, no brakes. Okay, and the reason for that is when you hit the brakes, you're losing traction. So 2 things happen. One is your center knobs dig in, which slows things down, and then your bike wants to stand up as you're braking. Okay, so when you are trying to corner or turn or lean the bike, you want to be accelerating, which gives you more traction with the ground. It's the same principle on a car. Not that I like rail corners on cars or anything. The other key component of cornering, and this is true of all the skills we've covered today, is your eyes, right? You go where you look, and so you want to pick your eyes up to search for the exit, to look through the turn, and that's going to help with some good body rotation as well. Cornering is a lifelong skill. There's a lot more I could go into, but for now I just want to give you those 3 things to think about. All right, so those are your principles for the berms. Let's cruise down and give the steep ones a try, but make sure to get some good practice reps in here. All right, you're here. You're at the Mitchell berms. You've worked on your line choice. You know you're coming in high and wide. You've worked on your body positioning. You know you're balanced in your feet and that you're low. And you've worked on your speed, and you know you're coming in nice and slow, and that you're off the brakes by the apex or the tightest point of the turn, or maybe working that 2-1 none, 2 brakes, 1 brake, and then no brakes. Now, the thing that's really different about these Mitchell berms is how steep and banked they are. So with your body position, it's really important that you lean the bike and your body, okay? So when you come in here, you've got to be leaning the bike and the body, and do what I call keep your pedals perpendicular to the surface on which you're riding on. So you can see here that my bike has a lot of traction, right? However, if I were to try to stay perpendicular to sea level and stand up, I'm going to slide down the berm. And this is where you've got to have confidence in yourself. Just keep hitting the mic. You've got to have confidence in yourself that if you lean with the bike and with your body, you're going to have way more traction than if you fight it and try to stand up. All right, you're coming into the berm. You have done most of your braking here where it's straight, where you have the most traction. You're getting into a low, balanced position on your body. And then you want to come in high and wide, right? So I'm not going to be able to walk this and like stay, but if I were to run it, so you want to get up on that bank and be leaning with the bike and your body. Now we're going to do a whole other berm video on another bermy trail in Post Canyon, but I want to give you the basics to be able to ride Mitchell Ridge with confidence and have more fun. So just remember those 3 things, right? Line choice, high and wide, body positioning, low and balanced, and then braking, come in nice and slow, and then be off the brakes by the apex, and you are going to have a blast. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope that's helpful. A few things I want to add. Number 1 is this is just my interpretation of the way I like to ride the trail, and also the way I coach the athletes that I work with, both kids and adults. There's a million ways that you can ride a trail. So, you know, if you ride it differently than me, that's awesome, and I'd love to hear about it. Another thing is I want to send out a huge thank you to Mountain View Cycles for supporting this project. Pretty much everything that I'm wearing you can find there. They have phenomenal customer service. And then I also just want to send a huge thank you to the other sponsors that support me: Ergon, Patagonia, Trail Butter, and Deity, as well as SRAM and Smith Optics for fantastic helmets and glasses, and Ride Concept shoes. If you liked this video or you found it helpful, please like and subscribe. It's really helpful and just helps to build momentum for us to do more projects like this in the future. if you're interested in improving your own skills and want an in-person lesson or to sign up for a skills clinic, go ahead, check out my website, ridingbrave.com. You can see all my offerings there, and I'm based in Hood River, so feel free to reach out, and please say hi if you see me out on the trail. I love saying hi to folks. Thank you for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Any questions, leave them in the comments below, and there'll be links to my website and all my fantastic sponsors down there as well. Be fit, be strong, and be brave.